Hi everybody, welcome back. Clint here again for you. I'm going to show you the differences, or in my opinion, what the perfect portrait lens is for Nikon. I know there's a lot of people out there that are probably in the same situation I am, where they're trying to find the best portrait lens for the Nikon system. And essentially the portrait lenses, if you call them portrait lenses, you can use any lens for a portrait, of course, but the lenses that are just designed to take portraits well are the 85mm, the 105mm, and the 135mm. There's advantages and disadvantages to each. In my thought on everything, after studying for hours and hours of research on the three and using them, I think the 105mm for me is the perfect length. I can discuss the others on another occasion. I don't want to get too long here. But anyway, so I decided on the 105mm. That gives me two options basically in Nikon's line. Now you can argue, well, if you went manual focus you'd have more options, and yeah, of course. I want the lens to still work on a modern current camera. I want autofocus, so I'm left with two options that are currently available. That is the 105mm Nikkor VR lens, the f2.8 VR, and the 105 AFD f2 DC lens. So basically, let's talk about some of the differences. The VR lens is of course newer. The 105 DC is about the oldest lens that's autofocus that's actually still in the Nikon lineup. So point goes to the VR lens. This is a newer design. Now the VR lens has vibration reduction, and that's VR2, so it's up to 4 stops better handholdability in lower light levels. Point goes to the Nikkor, or the VR lens on that. The VR lens focuses super close. You can go 1-to-1 with this lens, so if you shoot macros and you want pictures of bees inside of flowers or something, this is the lens to shoot with. This one has the nano crystal coat to reduce flare. It's a very contrasty lens. Very good color rendition, very sharp. Actually on PhotoZone, on the website PhotoZone, their review of Nikon lenses, there wasn't a single one that scored higher than the 105 micro VR lens from Nikon. It was the highest lens tested in distortion, vignetting, I mean all sharpness, all off the charts good. And then the things they don't test, like the quality of the bokeh, this is also a fantastic lens. It's creamy, it's real smooth rendition of bokeh. So that's actually what I'm mostly concerned about, is sharpness and great bokeh rendering, the background blur. So it's a great lens for that. Now, the thing that the DC lens adds is, for one, it goes to f2. You can shoot this thing at f2. That's a full stop brighter than this. That's twice as much light as this VR lens lets in. VR only corrects camera shake, not subject movement. So if your subject is moving, a higher shutter speed with this one is going to be better. Also, it has the defocus image control. A lot of people are confused with what that means. It doesn't defocus the image. It controls the amount of spherical aberration in the background or foreground, in front or behind of your critical plane of focus, which is an awesome tool for portrait photographers. I'm going to be shooting model portfolios this summer, and this is primarily going to be the lens I'm using because of that reason. Now, the bokeh on the 105 VR is good, and Kai from Digital Rev actually has a really good review on it between the two of these. But the bokeh at f2, you can throw backgrounds out of focus quite a bit better than you can at 2.8. You know, everybody who compares them always compares them at the same aperture. Well, let's compare them at 2.8 and see the differences. Even at 2.8, the bokeh on the 105 DC is actually slightly creamier, just even without the defocus control. That's just sort of a function of the lens design. There's only 6 elements in here too. Both lenses are super sharp. The 105 tested the highest any lens has tested at f2.8 for edge resolution. Actually, when tested wide open, that is. This lens, both are fantastically sharp lenses, but if you're insanely picky like me, this lens is very sharp at f2. By f2.8, it's actually edging out this one. So from what I can tell, and I've researched a lot about Nikkor lenses, this is one of the top 3 sharpest lenses ever made. Just because it says defocus control doesn't mean it's a soft focus lens. This thing is razor sharp. And you can see here it's got a nice big chunk of glass, which is always nice to look at. This lens is made in Japan. It's all metal construction, very high quality. So I actually got them both to try them out and decide which one I wanted to keep. It's a very hard decision. Even after getting both of them and checking them out, it was still a hard decision. Do I want VR? Do I want AFS focusing motor? This thing focuses quiet, it's real fast. Or do I want kind of old technology but rugged durability and just the creamiest bokeh you can get? And for me, I decided on the DC 105 f2 DC. It's sharp, it's rugged, it looks like it's going to last forever. So that was my choice, but you cannot go wrong with either. I think as far as a fashion or portrait photography lens, I think the VR is very underrated. Everybody thinks because it says micro on it that that means you can only take pictures close up of stuff, but it's a fantastic portrait lens too, and I may actually be adding it to my bag again down the road, so we'll see on that. So okay, the 105 DC lens has slightly more chromatic aberration than the 105 VR, but it's very slight, and it's only in high contrast situations where you've got dark and light colors against each other. You'll have a little bit of color fringing, but you just keep that in mind, and you can you can try to work around it. It's not a major issue. You can work around it, or the cameras, if you have a modern digital SLR, they correct for chromatic aberration on the camera body's lenses anyway. So the last point I wanted to mention on these are, I have, like I've said before, I have a back problem. I have a herniated disc, so I want to be kind of light on my feet, and whatever I carry, you know, the lighter it is, the better. I like quality, and if it's the best, I'll still carry it if it's heavy. You know, but the difference in weight between these, I think, is almost 5 ounces. So the F2, actually the one that opens up bigger, you would think it'd be heavier, but the AFS and all the extra glass elements in the VR are making it the heavier option. So for me, this was my choice. Lighter, sharper, faster, and more rugged construction. So alright, well, thanks a lot. You guys leave me some comments on what's your favorite portrait lens. Is it the 85? Is it a 105? Is it that 135 DC, which is pretty legendary? And I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for stopping by.